Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at something that I found at a garage sale recently. No, I'm not kidding. I like to hit garage sales on weekends. Why? Because I am horribly cheap. It's a good way of getting good deals. I'm not sure if this is a good deal or not. I really don't. I'm hoping that it is. Tonight's film is from legendary filmmaker George Lucas. See, guys, before Lucas continued to squeeze blood from the fucking Star Wars stone, he actually tried to make films. He actually was doing shit that wasn't some giant money-making franchise that he continues to re-release over and over and over again, and retards will buy it because they have tons of disposable income. But that's just me ranting about Star Wars. Let me get onto the subject at hand. In 1971, long before Lucas had dollar signs in his eyes by ripping off Flash Gordon, he had a little student film, and student film was rather popular. And it was turned into a full-length film. That film is THX 1138. Now, the version in my hands here is the only available version on DVD in the US. And it is the George Lucas Director's Cut, as it states on the bottom here in itty-bitty text, and on the side in slightly more readable text. I'm going to assume that means that he took a perfectly functional film that worked out just great and is going to slap a ton of unnecessary C-fucking-G on it just because, well, he loves to do that, as the original Star Wars trilogy is evidence. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm not going to go into this thing jaded and just expect Lucas to shovel out shit because, well, the Star Wars films are still good, even with all of the bullshit he throws on them. But then again, I have the DVDs which don't have all of the alterations and shit because, well, that's how I watched them when I was a kid, and I prefer them that way. But, hey, again, that's just me going off on another tangent. I'm really hoping that this movie's good. It does have a rather promising cast because it does star Robert Duvall and Donald Pleasance. So we already have a pretty nice cast right there off just two names. So hey, who knows? This thing could easily be amazing. But there is only one way to find out. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out THX 1138. Okay, I think it's considered a little bit of a faux pas when you vomit in the automated Jesus booth. Just taking a wild shot at that. It just doesn't quite seem like the normal thing to do. You know what I mean? So they put him into mind lock while he was handling a dangerous like isotope, without even really thinking about the fact that his spastic twitches after being mind-locked would cause him to drop the isotope and lead to a massive disaster inside, you know, the facility. Wow. These people are stupid as shit. I just want to say that right now. Well, I would like to share this little thing right now. I kind of like the whole, minimalist look of this, I guess, prison, about how everything is just ultra, like, sterile white. I just wish that the story was going somewhere, because it's starting to drag, and it's starting to get real dull. Okay, this has been bugging me now for a while. This character claims to be a fucking hologram. If that's the case, how the hell are they able to, like, staple a, like, tag onto his ear? How the hell was he able to push open that fucking gate? How the hell is he able to grab and hold on to things? How the hell is he able to eat? Last time I checked, a hologram was just a 3D light image. I have a feeling that George Lucas does not know the difference between a hologram and an android. That's the only possible explanation for that. Good God, that is just lazy fucking writing, dude. Now our hologram just had a hard time fitting into the tiny cars they have in this society. Again, hologram, an image made entirely of light and nothing else, is having a hard time squeezing into a physical object. Once more, I do have to give out my theory that George Lucas has not the foggiest fucking clue what a goddamn hologram actually is. Well, guys, that was THX 1138. Before I even get into the review, I have to talk about the title. Let me shut that thing off. See, guys, the title is the name of our main character. The problem is, I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to actually pronounce it. Because, you see, I'm going to give you guys a list of all the ways which our main character's name is said throughout the course of this film. Excuse me. He is called THX 1138, THX 1138, 1138 THX, 1138 THX. At one point, his mate just calls him THX. So, apparently, when Lucas was handing out the script, he didn't bother to tell a single motherfucking cast member how the hell his name is supposed to be pronounced, let alone how anyone else's name is supposed to be pronounced, because that's how all the characters in this movie are named, are just 3 letters and 4 numbers. Apparently, he couldn't be asked to tell them what is the proper way of saying these goddamn names. So, that's a small problem. I just sort of wanted to get that out of the way. Let's talk about the movie. I think writing is the best spot to start. Now, this was written by George Lucas, so you should know right off the bat the dialogue is going to suck, okay? Because Lucas is to good dialogue what fucking Montezuma's Revenge is to a good Mexican Vacation, okay? There is nothing good coming from it. And the reason why that sort of dialogue worked in Star Wars is because Star Wars was kind of a spoof, homage, tribute, knockoff, whatever the fuck, of the old 1940s theatrical serials. Stuff such as The Phantom Planet and Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. So to have cheesy, stilted, wooden dialogue there made sense. And it worked. Here, though, we have what is, I'm going to assume, is supposed to be a more serious, darker science fiction story. So having stilted, wooden, bullshit dialogue doesn't work here. And also, when you give your cast stupid, bullshit, wooden, stilted dialogue, they really can't do much with it. In fact, the only cast member who seems to put in any kind of effort, even though I'm going to assume that they all knew that the dialogue in this thing was shit, the only actor who put in any kind of effort was Donald Pleasance. But then again, that is because you could hand Donald Pleasance a fucking phone book and he'd be able to make it sound awesome, okay? Why? Because he's Donald fucking Pleasance. He was that talented, okay? Just wanted to say that. Now, even though the dialogue is, stilted, it's wooden, it's lifeless, it has no soul, it still doesn't absolutely destroy the film, because it still sort of tells a story that's kind of strong. I say kind of strong because it feels almost as if Lucas was just, prior to filming, he just started, ripping out pages randomly and just handed people whatever the hell was left. Because I swear to God, there are moments where we seem to be missing dialogue, or we seem to be missing an action scene that might have helped the story flow a little bit better. So we have this 78-minute movie. I'm sorry, it's 78 minutes. Where the story is horribly disjointed because we just seem to bounce around and nothing really makes a whole lot of sense, at least on your first watching of it. I mean, your first viewing. If I were to sit down and watch this thing again in 2 months, it might happen to make a little bit more sense because I know what's coming. But the first time around, there were moments I found myself completely lost, thanks to the fact that there seems to be scenes missing and shit like that. And since this is the George Lucas director's cut, you would think that he could have fixed that a little bit. I'm going to get into a little rant about the whole George Lucas director's cut thing in just a minute. While I'm on the subject of writing, even though I've already hammered on this subject a few times in the reaction part of this video, I am totally convinced that back in 1971, George Lucas didn't have a fucking clue what the hell a hologram is. Because, guys, one of my favorite sitcoms, at least one of my favorite British sitcoms, is a show called Red Dwarf, which has a hologram character. And they follow all the necessary rules of being a hologram. And that is, you are made of light. You cannot touch a fucking thing. And that's it. You are not able to physically interact with anything because you have no physical form. And the hologram character in this movie is able to physically interact with anything and everything he fucking well wants, including not being able to fit into one of those badass-looking science fucking fiction cars they have. By the way, those cars looked really cool, and I would love to own one, just simply to say that I own one. They really did look that cool. But the fact that this hologram, a figure made of light, couldn't fit in the fucking thing tells me that Lucas probably meant to call the stupid thing a fucking android, and just kind of thought that hologram and android were the same goddamn thing. Either way, I'm not going to let that get to me, because I've already made my point rather clear about that. Now, lighting is really good, and the cinematography is really good. The sound is really solid. There actually is like musical credit here, but I don't remember a lot of music. I really don't. There's barely any music in here, which makes me wonder why the fuck there's even anybody credited for music. It just seems a little out of place, you know? Now, special effects. Here's where I get to bitch about the George Lucas director's cut. At the very start of this video, I said that because this is the George Lucas director's cut, he's probably going to add a whole lot of unneeded, unnecessary CG effects, which are going to rip you out of the goddamn film, because they're going to keep you from being 100% immersed, because they don't look like they fit in the footage that was shot in 1971. I nailed that on. I hit the nail on the fucking head with that one, because that's exactly what George Lucas did. Holy shit. All of those CG add-ons stand out so much that I can almost guarantee you it's going to keep you from being fucking immersed if you're paying any attention to what's being seen. Because you have all this stuff which looks like a film from 1971, and then you have all of these special effects that you know in the back of your mind could never have been done in 1971. They obviously must have been done recently, because George Lucas doesn't care about giving you the film he made. He cares more about digitally jerking off in your fucking face and showing you what his true vision is at this moment. I'm going to assume that probably in a couple of years he is going to put this movie out again with even more fucking digital add-ons, because at that point his fucking true vision of the film will have changed between then and now. Why? Because that's what he's been doing with Star Wars since 1995. So, yeah. This thing is probably going to be a collector's item in a couple of years when the all-new George Lucas director's cut comes out with even more unnecessary add-ons and nothing that's going to help the fact that the story seems to have massive missing gaps in it. Because he doesn't care about that. Lucas wants to show off all of his fucking digital flair. Well, Mr. Lucas, fuck you, and come back to me when you know how to write a decent story. Now, do kindly fuck off and stop messing with your older films. They were just fine when they were first made. At least that's what I'm going to assume. This is the only version of this fucking thing I've seen. And I can only assume that the effects from 1971 would have been just fine. Now, is there anything else I have to cover? Covered acting, cinematography. Oh yes. I do want to talk, though, about this version of the movie. The picture quality. Guys, it normally is a bad thing when I have to talk about the picture quality, but in this case, I was stunned. Because, well, I've never seen quality that sharp on a DVD. This thing looked almost like Blu-ray in quality, because with close-ups you can see every single fucking wrinkle on every character's face. You can see every single wrinkle, every single freckle. It looks really creepy, but it kind of helps. With the whole atmosphere of the film. So I really cannot, fault it on that. It's just something that's kind of worth mentioning, because it's sort of fascinating that you can get quality that's that sharp on a fucking DVD. I was not totally expecting that. Now, I mentioned at the start of this video that I bought THX 1138 at a yard sale. I didn't say how much I spent, though. I didn't because I wanted to kind of wait until I was done watching it to tell you guys whether or not I paid the right price for this thing. I only spent $1 on it, alright? Yeah, somebody offloaded this thing at a yard sale for $1. I cannot possibly imagine why. And frankly, $1, that really isn't too bad. Because, you know what? Even though I've been sitting here and I've been griping and harping and bitching and pissing and moaning about the fucking effects, the dialogue, the writing, still, underneath all of that, just underneath the mountain of bullshit sits a kind of promising story. And if you can look past all of this film's flaws, there is something watchable here. And I'm probably going to keep this thing. At least maybe to get like a second viewing out of it. Because it might be better the second time around. I don't totally know. I just know that it was a little bit of a disappointment the first time around, but it wasn't enough of a disappointment to be a total deal breaker. So really, I can't bitch too much when all is said and done. If you guys can find this movie anywhere and you can find it like really cheap, I don't think that you guys are gonna find it for $1 like I fucking did, unless you're really looking. But go ahead, check it out. Like, if maybe you find it for, I say, like, rental somewhere, go ahead, check it out. If they have it on Netflix or Hulu or something, go ahead, give it a watch. Because, really, this one here is a really tough one to call because even though I found a lot of faults with it, a lot of you guys won't. And you might find something here. You actually might find something a lot better than what I found. So you just sort of have to look at that when you go into this. So yeah, this one is a really tough one for me to give a 100% recommendation to, just because it just came off as just so, average. It really isn't bad, but it's not fucking good either. So, by all means, guys, check it out, because you might actually find something here. I don't totally know. So, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.